Hello, friends. How are you doing today, this afternoon? For those of you who are having puasa today, selamat berpuasa. And for those who are not, enjoy your lunch while we have a short session with Aziph Mustapha today. Right, as you can see, he's standing right beside me right now already. Okay. Maybe whoever is here, just give a short shout out so that I know you are here. It's going to be short and quick and fast paced. So if you have some questions, you can just drop them in anytime. All right. So before we start, while we are waiting for a few more friends to come in, let's just have a look at our short intro. Hello. Hi, Azif.
Hi there, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, really good to have you here today on the show. As you can see, a lot of your fans are here too, waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, so friends, today we have Azif here. Let me just give a quick intro about Azif before he starts. Azif is actually the head of culture and transformation and engagement at Celcom Axiata. So he's actually leading a very large organization. And today I invited him to talk about how do we create and maintain the right culture in a big organization. So, friends, if you're here, just say hello and also just drop in your questions early because we're going to make it quick and snappy. Azif, by the way, is actually a really fun guy. If you see some of his pictures in LinkedIn, okay, he has got a lot of things to share. He has his personal site also, which I'll be also sharing later on. Some very interesting facts about him. He's also married with 5 children and very active in social causes. Okay, you will love to hear this later on. He enjoys basketball and music. All right. So, hello, Azif.
Hi,
Thank you
Vesa.
very much.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
All right, super. So, before we start, right, I just like to ask, what is culture in an organization?
Culture can be defined in so many different ways, right? But I would say culture is basically the entire experience of all employees and everybody related stakeholders to that company that impacts the way things are done in the organization. So it's a very wide topic, and really you can feel and experience the culture every time you interact with a company. It doesn't have to be formal. You don't have to say it out loud, but people can feel and touch and have a an idea of what the culture is just by interacting with people who work there.
Right. So, uh, where does culture sit in an organization in terms of the organization chart? Does it go into HR? Does it go into the leadership side? Where does it sit?
Well, many different places. In Malaysia, actually, culture leadership is something relatively new. In many like Fortune 500 companies, they have chief culture officers, so CCOs, as part of their C-suite. In Malaysia, you hardly can find any.
Yeah.
In Celcom, it was a new role created before I joined, and I was headhunted to fill that post. And I do report to the chief HR officer of Celcom. So in Celcom, it is under HR. However, what we do is beyond HR, I would say, because culture touches every single aspect of the organization. So in that sense, my activities are very much enterprise wide lah. Although I do report to the HR head.
Got it. Got it. So let's just jump right into the topic. What are the three steps in creating and maintaining culture in a large organization? Right? Maybe later on I'll ask you a little bit about, in a small organization, how can we do that too?
Yeah, that's maybe we could start from there because before I joined Celcom, I was actually from several smaller organizations, but I did have bigger responsibilities. For example, in Yayasan Inovasi Malaysia, where I spent 6 years, I started off as this chief operating officer and eventually was promoted to the CEO. So at that level, but it's a small organization. Like I said, at the most we had like 60 people, in the entire group. However, it was a high level organization. I reported to the board of trustees that was chaired by the YB Minister of Science. So it's a national level agency. However, it's very small. So in those sort of organizations, impacting culture is quite easy. As the CEO, whatever you say and whatever you do kind of happens, right? Because it's so few people. But in a large organization like Celcom, we have about 3,000 employees. Uh, it really takes a little bit of different types of effort. So the challenges are many. One is to make sure everybody's on a kind of level playing field. Everybody is on the same page and understands what the company's aspirations are, what the goals are, what the purpose are. I think that's one of the major challenges that we faced. And I spend a lot of time and energy just meeting with people and trying to get everybody on the same page.
Okay. So we have got some questions coming in. So from time to time, I'll just ask you some questions, right?
No
So
worries.
how has Jocelyn? Okay, first of all, let us just say hello very quickly to all that are here. Thank you very much for coming in, Jocelyn. Right, good to see you here again. Kana, we have Pramila, we have James Fung. I'm sure
Yeah,
you know
Captain
James,
James.
Captain James, and then Radnavati. She's running her own live show, right? And as Hazia, our regular, good to have you here, Hazia. Right. So Jocelyn has asked a question: how has the culture of Celcom changed now compared to pre-COVID days?
Very good question, Jocelyn. I honestly think we are actually closer together now because during COVID, we had to make a lot of changes, and all of us were kind of thrust into this new way of working from home, being remote, and all that. And my team and I, we really spent a lot of effort and time into engaging people at that point in time. So as soon as we started working from home, obviously, like in most 99% of companies in Malaysia, we didn't have a work from home policy. So we had never done this before. But as soon as people were working from home, we started a wave of engagements with different groups. So every day, my team and I would spend basically all day meeting with Sabah in the morning, Sarawak in the afternoon, Utara in the evening, and we would just listen to people. And because of that, and we did wave after wave of that, and we covered, I would say, 98% of employees. We spoke to everyone.
Wow.
So the whole purpose was that to make them understand and make them feel that we actually are listening to them. And because of that, we got a lot closer. I think what we've seen is that we have higher engagement rates, higher engagement ratings. We have had higher participation rates among people since COVID. So pre-COVID and post-COVID, I think we've gotten better as a culture, better as a team, in Celcom. So it's actually, when people ask me what were the challenges of COVID, I think it's actually a blessing for us because a lot of what we did has borne fruit right now.
Right. So, how do you actually measure the metrics on engagement? Because it's such loose thing. How do we? How do you have? Do you have any metrics for this? And how
Yeah,
do you measure it?
yeah, that's always the challenge. We do have an annual employee engagement index survey that's done not just for Celcom but all the opcos within the Axiata group, and that's a standardized ES, and that also has historical measures, so we can always check whether we're improving or not. Historically, we've had very very high engagement scores. Actually, we were higher than global norms, higher than global telcos, higher than high performing global companies. So it's the challenge was actually because we're at such a high level. How do we make those micro improvements to help get a better score? So that's one way we measure. However, ultimately the measure of engagement and culture is actually the bottom line, right? You
Mm.
can say that you have the best culture in the world, but if your business doesn't reflect it, then something's not going right somewhere lah. I'm happy to report that in Q3, Q4, we did very, very well in the market. We actually outpaced our competitors, and I have to, I can't claim full responsibility for that, but I think improvement in culture definitely had a impact on the way we perform in the market.
So you do you measure engagement through like surveys and all,
Of course. After each intervention, like last year, I had like 80 odd different interventions with the staff. So that means I or my people would actually have engagement sessions. And after each of the sessions, we send out a simple poll for them to rate the effectiveness of what we did. And we've gotten very high ratings from our employees as well. But that really allows us at every single point to say, hey, what did we do wrong here? How come our scores are dropping? What are they not enjoying? So we always monitor that, and that's become central to how we plan whatever we do with our employees.
right? How does good culture and engagement transform into bottom lines,
Well, a happy employee is a much more productive employee.
right?
Somebody who's excited to come to work will perform in ways that you can't even imagine better than somebody who's just showing up.
Right.
So, I think the danger of any company is presenteeism. People come to work and do nothing for
Mm.
8 hours and waste their
Right.
time on Facebook for 8 hours, and that is really a time suck and a resource suck for employers.
Right.
So, if as long as you can move people away from just being there to being present and being 100% present and thinking about ways to improve their relationship with customers, thinking about how to sell, how to upsell, how to cross sell. That really is the proof of a good culture, I think.
Mm. All right. Okay, let's dive into the actual topic of the day, which is, let's say, like, when the company gets together and they said, okay, we need to create this culture right now in this organization. How do we go about that? And that's the gist of today's topic.
Right. Yeah, the first thing you need to do is come up with a common purpose. I think that is critical. If you look at the best cases around the world, highest performing companies all have a very clear, succinct purpose statement that is bought
Mm-hmm.
into the majority of the employees. So if you don't have that as a company, it's almost impossible to get everybody on the same page and on the same boat, right? Because everybody has a different purpose. But if
Right.
you manage to lock down the purpose of your organization and then communicate that to your people, then eventually you'll come to a space where everybody is automatically knows what the purpose is. For example, in Celcom, we after a lot of work, actually after I came on board and our present CEO came on board, Idham Nawawi, he was very adamant to have this clear purpose statement. So
Right.
we did a lot
Right.
of work around the organization. We did workshops at all levels, And then finally, after months of this process, we came up with the Celcom purpose statement, which is just 3 words: advancing our societies. So then everybody in Celcom understands that this is why we wake up and come to work, is to advance our societies, not just to sell SIM cards and not just to sell home Wi-Fi and get people on our network. It's about really, really helping everyone we touch in this organization, and that has really transformed, I think, the culture of Celcom.
Right. So the first point is actually to create a common
Common
purpose,
purpose. Yeah.
and that doesn't just come from the top level. It's like coming up from the bottom and the whole thing together.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, culture can also be defined as tone from the top.
Right.
So culture doesn't work if the top says something but acts differently, then that's
Right.
actually very detrimental. So whatever the tone set by the top management, that eventually becomes the culture if it is authentic and if the top brass actually walks the talk. So we've actually also worked on that, because the top management team is, at the end of the day, is still a team comprising of human beings who have challenges themselves, who have issues and need
Yes.
to relate to one another. So we need to kind of, sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we forget that the CEO and our chiefs are actually human beings, right? So we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
relate to them as humans and help
Right.
them along that journey as well. So that's something that we have managed to do, and I'm really thankful that especially our CEO Idham is very clear on what he wants in terms of building of culture. And people ask me what's the main thing to help you build a good culture in the organization. I said the best thing that happened to me was that I inherited a very good CEO because he understands, makes my life so much more easier.
Right. Yeah, because like I think I've come across organizations where there's just a culture statement, but nobody seems to know what's going on there. What is it actually, and they haven't internalized that culture statement.
Exactly.
So
I,
it's just a
yeah.
statement on the wall,
Yeah, I can't say that we've done this 100%.
right?
It's still a work in progress, obviously. Like you said, internalizing it is the ultimate goal. And I can say we're not there yet. We're not at 100%, but we've worked over the last few years to build that. And I think that effort is showing fruition now. I'll tell you a
Yeah,
story, Vyasa. I think
yeah,
when the first MCO started back in March last year,
yeah.
we before a couple of weeks before that, we had already kicked off our BCM, our business continuity group.
Right,
So basically the whole management of Celcom, this 3000, this multi-million dollar billion dollar company, was run by the BCM instead of the
right,
typical hierarchy of chiefs. So the
right,
BCM meets every single morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. CEO himself would chair. I was invited to be part of this group as well. So every morning we would talk about how do we manage the company in this crisis. And actually, the day before the government of Malaysia announced everyone should work from home, we already sent all of our staff home. We said safety first, people first, everybody go home, then we'll figure this out. So
right,
that was one of our core values, is respect for individuals and people first, actually. So the CEO is very clear about that. But anyway, during this period, MCMC actually mandated that all telcos provide 1 free GB of data to all subscribers, right? Everybody enjoys
right.
this.
Wow.
And because Idham keeps asking us, is what we are doing, is this in line with our purpose, which is advancing our societies, and in line with our vision? Our vision is to become the Malaysia's most inspiring digital organization. So when we
Right,
make a decision, he'll check. He said, is this making us more inspiring? Is this helping us to advance our societies? So a clear example is that when MCMC said everybody needs to receive 1 free GB of data,
right,
we were asked this question by Idham. And he said, okay, let's become more proactive. Let's help people. We give our free 1 GB proactively. We don't ask our subscribers to do anything. Compare this to
right,
our competitors who took on a normal business mindset. They had people fill out forms, go to an online site, check this and do this, put their name, put their number, and click on something in order to get the free 1 GB. We didn't do that. We said, here's your free 1 GB. We proactively told people, don't worry about it. We will use your free GB first before we even touch your normal data. So because of that, we had this wonderful goodwill going on among ourselves and our subscribers. When Bain and Co did a survey, they said, "How does your telco treat you during MCO?" They asked subscribers from all telcos. We came up heads and shoulders above our competition because people
Wow.
felt that we really cared about them. So, and that's the power of culture. That's if you follow your true purpose, you follow your values, then people will see it and people will feel it.
The very interesting part is like it's not only within the organization, it's extended to the whole client base also, and without no questions asked.
For sure, because that is what culture is for, actually. Because your employees cannot make customers happy unless they are happy themselves, right?
Right.
Unhappy employees cannot create happy customers. We're very clear about that. We understand that. That's why we take care of our employees really well.
Right. Okay. So we have more questions running up
A
here.
lot of
Okay.
questions.
A lot of questions. Okay. So very good questions. Okay. We'll just start with James. James has asked this question early. After Celcom merged with DG, I think it hasn't happened officially yet, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, this question, what are the things that are going to be embraced as well as that's going to be replaced?
That's a great question, Cap. So, like as I said, right now what we're doing is still in due diligence phase. So, Celcom and DG are still not one entity yet. There's a few hurdles yet. We've announced the intention to become one entity called Celcom DG Berhad. That has not happened yet. Right now, what's going on is the due D. Once the due D is complete, we'll sign these comprehensive agreements. Then we can start working on these sort of things that you're saying. What do we keep? What do we replace? What do we change totally? Or which ones do we adopt? And that's going to be a massive, massive exercise. As you can imagine, there's so many different departments,
Yeah.
groups, units within both companies. But it's work that has to be done. And we're hoping to very quickly come up with this new company, uh, perhaps by Q1 next year, even. So, but it's going to take a lot of hard work before we get there. Great question. Thanks, Kat.
Wow, and definitely there's going to be a lot of merging of cultures and
For sure.
assimilating and all that, right?
For sure. It's
You
going to
got
be
you got
very,
your work cut out, a lot of work cut out for the next few quarters, as you can see.
yeah. I told my team if we manage to pull this off successfully, we probably have a book deal lined up as well as a Netflix series.
Oh,
I just have to find somebody handsome enough to play me on the Netflix series.
consider me as your backup, okay?
Yeah, we go to the same hairdresser, so it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so question by Daniel, right? So following up on my question of converting good culture and engagement into a bottom line, right? What's your take on what's the strongest asset of a company?
Yeah, I said already, it's the people, right? If the people are not in the right frame of mind, that is the deal breaker. That's the difference between a normal company and a great company, is the people and how they perform. And how they perform is obviously determined by many things: skills, level of training they receive, level of competencies that they have, and all that experience, and so on and so forth. But the biggest determinant of how they perform is the culture. You can have the same person working at two different companies. He works in a company A in the daytime and works in company B in the evenings, and he can have two totally different personalities just because of how his colleagues, how his bosses treat him. In company A, everybody is helpful, everybody is concerned about him, everybody doesn't put him down, so he performs like a star. In company B, everybody is trying to find fault, everybody cari pasal, everybody is making life difficult for him. In company B, he keeps under the radar. He doesn't put his head up. He doesn't give any ideas. He doesn't do anything above what is expected of him. But in company A, he goes above and beyond. So this can be the same human being, right? It's the same person, but
Yeah,
what changes is the culture surrounding him.
right. It's just so interesting how the company culture sets up the performance of a staff, right?
For sure.
So the next question is from Jasbe. How do the top management leaders sustain their authenticity at all time when at times business needs comes first?
Of course, just be, what I have had to do, and I think what many HR and culture practitioners had to do is we need to speak the language of the top management. Because as you rightly said, their concern is the bottom line. Their concern is sales. Their concern is keeping costs down. But we need to show to them and prove to them, not just show, we need to prove the link between culture and the bottom line. So when they see that the effort that they are putting in is actually helping them achieve their objectives, then that makes it easier for them to buy in. Sebab kalau tak, they will fall back on the same excuses. No, I don't have time for this. I'm too busy with that. I'm too busy building sales. We're saying you can build sales more efficiently and effectively if the people are in the right frame of mind. So with that understanding, it becomes easier for us to get the buy-in from the top management. But obviously, again, my biggest asset is that I have a very understanding CEO, and he himself is the one who's pushing this actually. So I don't really need to do much. But yeah, that balancing act again is obviously, if everybody buys into the vision, including the top management, then life becomes a lot easier for everyone.
Mhm. And it's a lot easier if the top management actually sets the tone, and then everybody can just fit in, right? And it's easier
Exactly.
for the job of the chief culture officer also.
Exactly. I mean, not just easier, it is essential, I think. If the top management doesn't walk the talk, it's not just difficult, it's basically impossible. You
Right,
cannot convince people something that the top doesn't show. So if they're
right.
not demonstrating it, I can talk till the cows come home and nobody listen to me. And actually, it's
Yeah.
detrimental to my to my credibility, right? Because
Yes.
Azif is trying to convince us of something, but the management is doing something else.
Yeah.
That one, I die lah,
It's
I
tough lah.
mati.
You're caught in between, right?
Exactly.
I've heard about this in other organizations also, where they get someone to manage the culture, but the leaders are not walking the talk, so nothing happens.
Yeah,
It's just talk only, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
At this stage of my career, Vyasa, I probably won't put up with that. I don't have
Yeah.
time for that.
Yes.
I don't have time for that because it is just setting myself up for failure. And why
Yeah.
should I stay at an organization that doesn't provide that sort of support? So I'm thankful that Celcom does provide me that support, which is why I'm still here. And I see the fruits of the effort that we put in, and I see the recognition that people are giving my team. And I think it's some place that I'm excited to be. I'm excited about the merger actually because for somebody like me, I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Not many people have this opportunity to merge two great cultures and come up with an even better one. So that
Yeah.
is my challenge, and that is something that I'm so excited about.
Right. Yeah. It's like a merging of two giants, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Salini Ganesan has said, this is a great session, just came at the right time for her as she was looking for a suitable case study for her training course on organizational culture versus professional branding. Wonderful culture, Celcom. We walk the talk culture. Okay, it
Yeah.
has been very insightful. So super. Thanks a lot, Salini, for joining us.
Yeah. I'll be happy to sit down with you, Salini. Just reach out to
Wow.
me if we've not connected yet, and I'll be happy to provide some more insights.
Awesome. So Salini, you can reach out. You can check out Aziph's connection below. Aziph will be also sharing something on later on. You can actually join the session. I
Yep.
will share the poster later on, right? So okay, James E has asked, in your opinion, what is the typical timeline to successfully creating a culture paradigm shift?
Right, it's a great question, James. If you look at the literature, there's a lot being written about this. Uh, it varies really at the type of organization. Like I said, in my previous organization, I could do it almost overnight. I say something, we come together, the senior management all agrees, and we implement, and it's only 60 people, right?
Yeah,
Everybody does it. So it's a lot easier. In large organizations, and we are not that large, some companies have hundreds of thousands of employees, then it becomes even more difficult. However, there must be a strong shift, right? There must be a point in time where we say, it's not this, it's this. It's no longer this. We are going to a different way. That demarcation has to be very strong. For example, in Celcom, just a few years ago, we came to work in suits and ties every single day. Every single day,
Right.
blue tie, a jacket, a suit, everybody's super formal. So one day, the CEO was having a town hall, right? He was like, just like this in the lobby, everybody's standing around him, and he was talking. He said we should embrace a more startup like culture, he was saying, in his suit and tie. So what happened was a very young man put up his hand. He was, I think, a trainee at that point in time. Put up his hand. He said, "Sir, you're saying be startup, but we're all in suits and ties. I don't think this will contribute towards becoming more startup." And you know what the CEO said? I said, "I think you're right. Starting Monday, we will all be in jeans and t-shirts, which we are till
Wow.
today." So I'm grateful to that young man who paved the way for all of us. But you could see that the culture is the top management listens and actually takes action based on anyone's input. So that's a great example of how we changed our culture almost immediately,
Wow.
from very formal suit and tie to now anything goes. You can wear whatever you want to work as long as you're decent. You can come.
Was everyone happy with that change, that immediate change?
Funny thing is, yeah, everybody loved it. Obviously, people, it's much easier to come to work in jeans and t-shirt. But what I did when I first joined in 2019 was that I said, I have so many suits, so why don't we wear a suit to work once a week? And I said Friday. I said let's institute formal Friday. So I put this up in our internal social media. I gave all my justification. I said I want to wear a suit to work every Friday. Who's with me? And I did a poll. 99% said you're crazy. Nobody wants to wear a suit on Friday. Friday is casual day. But I said we are casual every day, right? Let's be contrarian. Let's do something differently. Let's wear a suit. So throughout 2019, just I wore a suit every Friday. So maybe 40 weeks out of the 52 weeks, I was in a suit and tie. At the end of that year, I had exactly zero followers. No, not a single person followed me. I was the only bugger wearing a suit on Friday. People laugh at me, but I don't care. Uh, I enjoy. I still do it till today. Actually, I still wear a suit
Oh,
on Fridays. Yeah.
awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So, friends, if you have questions again, just do drop them. I think we are talking about a very interesting topic today, which is culture. Just go ahead and ask any question. Azif is actually very open. He's such a fun guy. Okay. So while waiting for your questions, right, you can just, I want to just share with you something about Azif, right? Did you know that Azif was actually a volunteer music teacher at the Selangor Federal Territory Association for the Mentally Handicapped? Would you want to just share something about that?
Oh, that was just an amazing experience. Actually, that was a long time ago. I said that was while I was waiting for my SPM results,
Okay,
and I just didn't have anything to do, and there was a small ad in the newspaper saying they were looking for volunteers, and this center was in Brickfields. So I was living in Shalam at the time, so it was a long way to take the bus and go all the way to the Klang bus stand, and then actually walk to the center, which is in Brickfields. So I did that 3 times a week. I carried my guitar because they said, "What can you do?" I said, "I can play the guitar and sing." They said, "Okay, okay, we need a music teacher." So 3 times a week I do that, and it was just a lovely experience. It was not that long; it was only like 2 months or 3 months. 3 months,
right.
I think, but it really, really was an amazing experience for me. I started off my volunteering. I think I never volunteered before that because I was in a boarding school. So I lived away from home since I was 12. But that really, sparked my interest in the area, in the field. And till today, I try and volunteer as much as I can to different organizations.
So I noticed you're also involved in the special needs education cooperative in Putrajaya.
Right.
What do you do there?
Well, my son actually is on the spectrum, as they say. He has
Okay,
Asperger's, although it's very
okay,
mild. So he was in a sekolah integrasi, they say. It's sekolah pendidikan khas, so
right,
special needs school that was integrated in a regular school. So the
okay,
Koperasi is actually an offshoot of that. I was the chair of the Pendidikan Khas Parent Teachers Association, and there was a cooperative that does similar work in Putrajaya. So I joined them as a member of the board. and they just try and provide better opportunities for people with special needs to find work. So they opened a small shop, a retail store, and then kids who are able to man the store and take care of things and all that. So even small things like that really matter to people, and
Yeah.
whatever you can do really will help.
Okay. So yeah, it's very interesting actually about Asperger's. I've read my nephew has this also, and I think a lot of people can get to know a little bit more because how to get them integrated with a normal life. Uh, the other day, Cheryl Vita, one of our LinkedIn mates, asked about her another friend posted about working with
Hmm.
Asperger, those with Asperger's. How do you work
Hmm.
with them, right? Okay, so I just want to ask you this. Okay, have you seen this picture before? Do you know who is this?
I used to have hair. That proves that I used to have hair, no longer.
And that's a whole that was Azif when he was a lot younger. For those who don't haven't seen this picture, okay, I
A
picked it
lot
up from
younger.
a secret place.
No, I mean, I shared that. One of the reasons is because on LinkedIn, actually, people are so stuck up about, do I have to post professionally? Do I have to be formal? I think whatever you post, as long as it's authentic and it's about you, and it's about something that you can relate to. This actually had one of my highest engagement among many of my
Really?
posts. Yeah, I got hundreds and hundreds of comments. So people really related to it, and I started engaging with people at a different level. I think if you want to build a tribe on LinkedIn and you want a bigger following, you really need to share a little bit more personal things about yourself, because people want to connect to you as a human being first before they're interested in your professional work, or before they're interested in the products or services that you are pushing. They really want to know, are you worth my time to engage with or not? So you have to provide more opportunities for them to discover you, which is what
So
this mohawk is all about.
this is such an interesting picture. So what is your aim on LinkedIn actually, Azif?
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm not looking for work. I've been
Yeah.
approached by many parties about switching jobs, but I'm not interested because I'm in a place that I really care about, and I'm at a job that I'm really passionate about. So I'm not even interested to look at other opportunities. I don't have anything really to sell. I'm working full time. I don't have a business, so I'm here to create a bigger community surrounding me, because I understand that the more people uh, are in my tribe, so to say, the more opportunities will come my way. And we don't know what those opportunities
Yeah,
are. We don't know
that's
what's
right.
in our future, right? And I think LinkedIn is such a nurturing place for me. I find so many. I mean, it's so positive. Such a positive place. Everybody is supportive. Everybody says nice things. People, really go out of their way to reach out to you and say positive things about what you've posted, and support you. So it really nurtures me as a human being. I enjoy it. And I was telling you before the show, it really allows me a platform to be myself. Usually at work, lah, you kind of have to act a bit, berlakon a bit,
Yeah, yeah,
be
yeah,
someone you're not. But on LinkedIn, I just be myself. I don't care,
yeah.
Then it seems to work for my audience.
I must tell you that I enjoy reading your posts. Right, it's very lively. It's full a lot of energy and all. Right. Okay. So we have another question. Bayu has asked how to create an environment in a startup company since we have much job descriptions. I mean that we are multitasking employee. Right.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bayu.
great question by you. I think culture is not about what you are tasked to do. It's about how you do it, as an employee. I think in startups, especially, like I was in a startup for a long time, it's actually easier to build that culture because your leaders are so close to you, right? They're not like 20 floors above you or in a separate HQ. At a startup, you're all sitting together. You can tell how hard they're working. They can tell how hard you are working, and it's a matter of creating those opportunities for all team members to learn about each other. So, team lunches, going for bowling together, and all of that. It doesn't matter how many different jobs you're doing, as long as you understand that the person next to you or the person in front of you, you're all on the same boat and you all have the same purpose and vision, then you can create a wonderful, wonderful culture that will propel all of you to greater heights.
Okay. So Bayu, I hope you have your question answered there, right? Okay, so I also want to ask, what are some of the challenges you face when implementing culture and maintaining culture?
Yeah, I think maintaining is the key challenge, uh, especially for us because we are a very distributed company.
Right.
We have shops and offices in every single state and in many many small towns. And what I did when I first joined, 'cause I'm not very long in Celcom. Like I said, I joined in 2019. My boss, the chief human resource officer, said you need to get to know the people. So basically, he put me on a plane and we flew to every corner of the country to meet up with people. And all I did was listen. I just sat in front of them, said, "What's going on? What's going on with you? How are you doing? How can I help support you?" And one of the key messages that my team and I say are that you are my customers because I don't have external customers, right? I don't interface with people who actually subscribe to Celcom. All of my customers are internal. So every single staff
Right.
I meet, I will clearly say, I look into their eyes and say, you are my customer. How do I serve you better? So because of that, I gain a lot of credibility in the company and people understand that my team and I really are there to listen to them. We can't solve all problems, obviously. And lah, when HR comes, people want to this and that to change. And like I said, I'm not really in HR. I don't have a traditional HR role, but I do my best to listen. And just by listening, really improves the climate, improves the environment. I can go to any town in Malaysia right now, and I will have a friend. I'll have like a family member already inviting me to their homes because of the relationships I've built around the country. So
Right.
I think the key challenge is to connect with employees and on a personal level. I mean, you can't go around it. You can't have just a formal face and say this is I'm a professional. This is who you deal with. Cannot. Because we're talking about human beings here, and that's the human part of human resources lah. If you take the human out and we talk to robots only, then it's easy. But because it's human, you need to connect at a human level, and I think that's a big challenge for many HR professionals
Right.
because they were not trained that way. Business environment was not like that before, but it is now. So you have to change and you have to adapt to the new environment.
Right. I think Salcom has picked the right person for the right job, definitely, with you around.
I
Okay.
mean that's a great
Yeah.
point actually. Yes, I wanna address that a little bit
Yep.
because throughout my 20 odd years career, I've never had a formal HR title in any of my job descriptions. I didn't have a typical career progression, right? Usually, if HR wants to hire a senior person, they will see, okay, every 2 years you improve, you get bigger roles, you have a nice resume, no gaps. My resume is like cheddar cheese full of holes. Holes here, two
Right.
years I did something else, I was away for another year, so I had so many gaps.
Yeah.
But because I think Celcom went out on a limb and took a chance on me
Mm.
because they felt maybe they saw something interesting.
Mm.
But really, they took a risk because typically big corporations won't hire someone like me because I have
Yeah.
too many risks probably involved. But they did take a chance, and I applaud them for taking risks because sometimes that's what you need to do to find the right people and the right talent.
So, like, what? Why did they hire you, of all people?
It was a long process actually.
Right.
Over 6 months that I met with various senior leaders. I met with the CEO. I met with all the chiefs on separately over coffee, and it was really a courting process because I
Mhm.
made it clear that I will not work for just anyone, right? If I don't
Yeah.
believe in the company and I don't believe in the leaders, I'm not going to work for you. So it went both ways. They tried to court me, I tried to court them. And after that long period, I thought we were in a place where we could work together and we could, do something magical. And that,
Right.
that was that was the real driver for me joining South Africa.
Right. Right. So I mean, yeah, and the story is written. Okay, so we're going to finish the show very soon, right? If anyone has any last few questions, you can just drop it in. But meanwhile, I just want to show something that Aziph is doing this weekend. I think you should attend it if you can. This is the Super LinkedIn Secrets, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., 9th of May, this Sunday. Right? So it's in LinkedIn Live. Maybe as if you want to just share a little bit about what's going on in that session.
Yeah, what happened was many different organizations called me to talk about LinkedIn because I've been
Right.
growing really quickly. I think I 5 times my followers, 5x my followers in 4 months. I think now
Wow.
I'm at almost 14,000 followers. Not that big, but the speed was quite surprising to many people.
Yes.
So I've learned a lot from many gurus. Some of them are in this chat as well. But what I did was I shared back to my university a few weeks ago. And in that session, because I tried to make it as hands on and as practical as possible, in 1.5 hours, all of them, if they didn't have a LinkedIn profile, already created a profile. If they were not very towards all-star profile status, most of them were well on their way. Within that 1.5 hours, most people achieved almost 100 connections already. And
Wow.
for people who start out, this is the key challenges, right? They don't know how to connect with people. So we teach them that and we do it together in the workshop. Okay, this is how you write to people to connect, and everybody did it. If they don't know what to post, we did that as well. This is your first post. Let's craft your first post together. And everybody posted. So it was so fulfilling to me to see everybody come back and say, this is something that they never thought they could do, and now they're doing. So I've extended that to now for a public program. So if you're interested, maybe Biasa, you can share the links to register for
Yeah.
this program in the chat. So if you guys can go there, I really appreciate.
Let me just share this here right now.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it's coming out in LinkedIn yet or not, but I will share the links for sure after this. Okay, let me just see whether I can just post it in here. Give me a second.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Okay, it's
join,
done. Yeah.
what we're gonna do is exactly the same thing. I'll teach you how to develop an all-star profile. I'll teach you how to get content ideas, and as you've seen, even Mohawk head 16-year-old picture also can become a content. Very engaging content. And then I'll show you how to not just connect with everyone, but connect with really targeted people in your space or spaces that you want to. Say you're looking for a job, right? Don't just look for any job. Look for the best job that you can find. What's the best company you want to work for right
Wow.
now? So target them, target their people, create content specifically for that group of people, and then engage with them. Engage like crazy for the next few months. I guarantee you, somebody will talk about your name to somebody who's making a decision on jobs. So at least you'll get your foot in there.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. I think that's going to be very good. Okay. Again, the link is open for all connections. Yes, Angela. The I've already put in the Google link of
Form, yeah.
Azif's event on for this Sunday. Again, let me just put up the poster for a minute. Yeah, yeah. So it's Super LinkedIn Secrets, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
It's 2.5
9th
solid
May.
hours. Yeah, yeah. This Sunday,
Okay.
2.5 solid hours. We're gonna go through it together. Whatever you need to, we can together, address that. And I hope many of you will come and join me on Sunday.
Okay. So, Azif, is it done on LinkedIn Live or is it on Zoom
It is actually live on YouTube,
on
and we
YouTube?
engaged via the YouTube comments. We found it to be quite effective, and you should be able to have a great conversation there. And we also run Menti, so Menti is very interactive, and we can learn from them. And I share screen and I review your profile straight away, and we found that to be very effective.
Awesome. Okay, so take this chance, be with Azif this Sunday, 10 to 12:30 p.m. The link is at the comment section. I think Azif, you can see the link there already, right? In
Yeah, I see
LinkedIn.
the comments. Yeah.
Okay, so for Facebook and YouTube, I will put the links also later on, but it's already out there. Just take the chance and join Azif's session. He's such a giving person, very humble, and he has got a lot to share. Definitely, from 3,000 plus to close to 14,000 followers, very targeted in just a matter of 3 to 4 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, obviously, I didn't do this all on my own. I'm part of a group called Growth Academy, which has really taught me strategies to make this easy. Before I was so worried about spending so much time on this. Now I spend a lot less time, but a lot more effective. And that's something I could share with you as well.
Awesome. So Angela, I think Angela has said thanks, Vyasa and Azif. Azif has put up the forms again here. Okay, it's in the comment section. Look it up. We have both the short link and the long link also there. And Radhika said, "Okay, great event. Just join in this Sunday. This event is open for all connections. Yes. All right. So here's the link again. Okay. So again, Azif, we are finishing up right now. If anyone has any questions, shoot it out. Otherwise,
Yeah.
shoot out and just say thanks to Azif and say bye bye to him. We are going to finish up
Yeah.
soon.
Do reach out to me if you're not a first level connection yet. I accept everyone, especially if you say you were part of conversations that matter with Yasa. And if you don't know what to post, I'll tell you right now. Take a screen cap of your screen at this very point in time, and then post. I was in this conversation with Yasa and Azif, and these are the three things I learned. That's all. You
Oh,
immediately have a post. You tag me, you tag Yasa, you tag anyone you see here, and then I guarantee you'll have very high engagement on that post that you've had. If you've never posted before, this is perfect. Take a screen cap, put it up. Don't worry about it. Say, I was here at this session. This is what I learned. Or even if you hated this session, I hate this session. I didn't learn anything. Post it, because then you will at least get engagement with people, and you are authentic, telling people about how you felt. That's all it matters. And that's one tip for you. Post this today. Tag me, tag Jasa.
all right. So Angela, your question, any free courses you can enroll in, I think just message me right after this. But of course, Azif's session is free. This Sundays is free, right, Azif?
No, actually, this is a paid session.
Paid session. Okay,
I do run free sessions, and if you want that, you can always wait, and
right
we'll have
in.
other sessions. Also, for this weekend, if there's anyone with any sort of trouble to pay, or if you're out of a job, you're in between jobs, whatever, you have financial concerns, you just write to me, and I'll always provide free tickets to anybody who needs it. So if you need
Awesome.
to join for free, go ahead and register, and just send me a DM, and I'll give you a free ticket.
Thanks a lot for that, Azif. I mean, it's very kind of you to do that, right? Okay, so for those who are having real trouble to join in, you can always write in to Azif directly, right?
Yep. No,
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Azif, just stay on the line. After this, we're going to end the show. Thanks, everyone, again for coming into the show. All of you, it's been a pleasure having you. And I think I haven't done these live sessions for really long. It's a pleasure to be back. And it's a pleasure to be starting the ball rolling with Azif, for sure. Azif is busy running around right now because tomorrow's MCO, and he has got to get a lot of things before tomorrow, and yet he's just joining in live from outside.
yep, yep. I'm here in the lobby of TM's point in Cyberjaya because I
Oh, in
just had to.
Cyberjaya.
Yeah, I had to come and do this. It's the last day for me to do it. I had to run and do it. So sorry about having this mask on. I didn't want to get summoned, so I'm outside. So again, it's been a pleasure to be on the show, and thank you so much for all the great questions and the engagement with everyone. I really appreciate it. Please connect with me if you haven't connected yet, and I would love to see you on my content. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Azif. Right. So bye bye, everyone.